like drama, we got it. If you like sports, yeah, we got it. You like politics, promise we got it. Report everything hot at this college. PG News, yeah, right off the press. Reporters and filmers, PG got the best. Information that you need is reported. Make sure y'all tune in for what's happening next.
Hey, welcome to PGCC Perspective, brought to you by the illustrious Owl Student Newspaper. I'm your host, Mattia, bringing you the latest on all things political, platonic, and problematic. Happy Valentine's Day, Owls. You know, I can really feel love all around this campus, and we're so excited to bring you our very first episode on the topic of love. Here's a hot take for y'all. Whether it's building deep connections with the world around you or learning to embrace the entirety of your existence, that simple word love possesses such a societal obligation. Let's talk about it. Today, I am so happy to announce my editorial staff that will be joining us for this discussion. If you guys want to go ahead and say your names.
Hi, so I am your social media manager, Truk.
I'm the filmer and editor. I'll go by Zay.
Hi, I am Alexis, and I am a content creator and a writer.
All right, let them know. And now, guys, we all know that Valentine's Day is very controversial and a very stressful holiday for most people. In fact, Valentine's Day can be filled with materialistic, passion-driven gifts paraded all throughout social media. And for most people, this day equates to bitterness and revenge. So it constantly serves as a consistent reminder that you are alone, like painfully. So guys, how do you perceive love?
Honestly, for me, I've never had like a romantic kind of love. So all of the love in my life right now are like very friendship, parental, siblings, mentorship, very wise. For me, honestly, I'm just really grateful for the people in my life because they've like allowed me to get this far. And yeah, like I don't really have a deep meaning of love personally.
Totally, that makes sense. Anybody else?
I would like to say I kind of gave up on love. A lot of heartbreaks. But you know, you learn a lot with a lot of heartbreaks. So, for anybody who hasn't been in love yet, just take your time with it. You know. And I feel like maybe I just haven't found my person yet, but you know, still a chance. But
I mean, yeah, you're like 12, so don't worry about it. Your time's gonna come. Hold up.
Definitely. But it's just the time to grind at this point. So
yeah, I felt that.
Honestly, I would say I perceive love through a bit of a weird lens because I feel like I put such a high standard on it. You know, media, I read a lot of books that have love in it, and I haven't actually experienced it. So my expectations of what love is are so high, and I'm like, I really hope someone can live up to this standard. As same as Truk, I would say love for me is more like my family, my friends, and the love I have for them, and the love I feel like they have for me.
Wow, that really brings up a great point. I know for me, love is like, it's just filled with a lot of uncertainty. A lot of times when I like love people in like a romantic sense, I have to ask myself, like, is this lust or is this love? Like, I don't have like a healthy outline to love. And that's something that I want to figure out, especially now that like I said to Zay, I'm a baby, and it's like I'm not even 20 yet, so I know I have a lot to experience. But to touch base on what you were saying about how like your standards are so high, do you think social media has like influenced your view on love?
100%. I would say it's inevitable. It's inevitable because honestly, I don't even think about the fact that I'm not in a relationship until I see somebody with someone and I'm like, oh my goodness, I love that for them. I want that for me. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I'm painfully aware that I haven't experienced that, and I don't necessarily have someone in my life that I would even want that with yet.
Yeah, makes sense.
No, that's definitely true. Like, for example, a lot of people try to compare themselves to Dirk in India, and then when they see
yeah.
Lil Durk yeah.
I be seeing like
and then
memes,
DDG and Halle
yeah.
and then everybody sees that something goes wrong and then they take it to social media and it's like, see, this happens, we'll never find love now, because it's like they base their life off of celebrities' relationships.
People, I was gonna say, people definitely like, if someone breaks up, they're like, love isn't real. Like, come on, y'all don't even know.
Too. I'm guilty.
Honestly, certain couples, you get invested, but at the end of the day, like, their relationship is not the epitome of love. It's
at all.
So, question: if Jay-Z and Beyonce got a divorce, would y'all still believe there's love?
Jay-Z cheated.
Exactly.
So,
like
I don't even.
First of all, he's not love her, and I would say it's about damn time. Like for real.
Honestly,
That's what it's giving.
Honestly,
For real.
as soon as he cheated, I was out. I listened to Lemonade, and I immediately was like, "Why are you still here, girl?"
Oh, definitely. And I think, like, even for me, like, I've come to realize that love is not black and white. Like, there's room for, like, vulnerability, there's room for failure, and there's room for a lot of forgiveness. Like, that's really what my relationship taught me. And, like, even just, like, cheating. Like, I think cheating is an inevitable thing, and that's very arguable. Like, I think it's...
I
but
don't think
everybody,
so.
like, that I've, like, even, like, in, like, asking people around campus, a lot of people, like, cheat. And it's like, why? Like, why are we so comfortable doing that in this day and age? And I think social media plays, like, a huge role in that. Like, what do you guys think?
Oh my gosh, about social media playing a huge role on like just random stuff. Like y'all situationships in this
Oh,
time
yes,
and age.
yes,
Y'all are
yes.
crazy.
Oh Lord.
No
Yeah.
one is like committing to each other nowadays. But like
100%.
I can't even say anything because like I did the same thing.
Wait, so have you guys been in a situationship? And
Yes.
if so, how did that end? Because clearly it's not current,
Okay,
right?
so for me, I feel like talking and situationships are two different things in a sense. So how I talk to people, yes. But also, as I said, I actually haven't said this, but I'm going to mention it now. The first time I feel like I was talking to someone, and I don't know if this counts as a situationship because we did go on a date, but like it didn't end well. So I don't know. I just feel like with situationships, my biggest thing is you don't know if you're actually with somebody. And then
Yeah.
someone could then be like, I'm not loyal to you. We're not dating. But it's like, but emotionally, I'm invested. Like, I can't talk to multiple guys at one time because I like one guy. And then I feel like I'm spreading out my attention. And it just doesn't really work for me. But what do you guys think?
Makes sense.
Nah, that's true. Definitely been in a couple situationships, but it's like, I think from my end, it comes to a point where it's like you don't want to let go. Like you know what I'm saying? You get into something with somebody, and then when it's time for I guess things to like come to an end for who knows what, a party just doesn't want to let go. So you try to find something that'll spark to just keep it there. Like when people have sneaky links, or people I guess if they have a really deep emotional connection, which ties into when they get into new relationships, their current is like, why do you still converse with your ex and stuff? So it's you know, people build those type of relationships that they don't want to lose.
I think it's just like our generation like lacking vulnerability and like wanting to be with each other.
Yeah.
Like from my experience, my situation lasted like 3 years, y'all.
Oh, wow.
That's like a relationship.
That is a long time.
We never got
Wow.
together.
Wow.
But basically, personally for me, I was just scared to like proceed with like anything. So I just wasn't, I didn't trust him enough basically to like continue with anything. So I don't know. I feel like we're just not vulnerable, especially with like the mask that we put up online. Like we just have this image that a lot of us want to keep.
Definitely, like that
True.
big facade is just like I just hate, like it just makes me angry. It just makes me angry because it's like find love in yourself first. But
Right.
I'm a firm believer, like I don't think you have to fully be in touch with yourself to get into a relationship. But at the same time, it's hard for you to like when you're in a relationship, especially super young, it's hard for you to like separate yourself, like your own individualism from this person that's become like a part of you, you know?
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Yeah.
wait.
That was good. That was a good take.
I really,
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that. I, at least in high school, I always felt like I didn't know myself well enough to be in a relationship with somebody because like that's such a commitment, and I didn't want to go and screw somebody else up because I didn't know myself.
Yeah.
And now as I've gotten older, I'm like, okay, that could be something that I'm open to. But at the same time, I guess there's this fear of like never really knowing myself. But as Matthias, you said, when are you ever going to be fully in touch with yourself? You're
Yeah.
always learning things about yourself and growing, and you can't like hide from a relationship or hide from somebody because you're like, well, I'm not in the place for one.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you're not, but sometimes you're just afraid.
So asking you guys this question, like what do you hope to get out of a relationship? Like not even just like in terms of like partnership, what do you hope to get, or like what do you hope to learn about yourself when you're in a relationship with somebody? Because I feel like that's something, like I was saying, like we're just so blinded by this person, and like we're so fixated on like their needs, their wants, like how they make us feel. But how are we gonna like make ourselves feel good while in a relationship? Do you guys have like any tips?
I say loyalty for For sure. That's pretty much the one thing everybody lacks, and I think everybody needs, because a lot of people have, whether it's family issues or personal issues, or if they feel like, oh, I don't have enough friends, or I don't, like a lot of self-love, and it's probably because there's a lack of commitment with people in their lives. So I think people, so when they open up to somebody and they show disloyalty, it just breaks them even more. So I feel like the one thing people should really focus on is just trying to stay loyal to somebody.
Okay, I actually kind of want to touch on that because there's this thing I've noticed, and I'm not trying to say this is just a guy thing, but I have noticed that when guys experience their first heartbreak, whatever girl comes next, it's never going to be the same. It almost feels like, to an extent, they don't want to open themselves up as much. What do you have to say about that? Like, do you feel that like that's true at all, or it's case to case?
So are you saying like from our perspective?
I was trying to say, I feel like guys will experience like their first love, and maybe they're really invested in whoever that is, and then it doesn't end well or whatever happens, and then like whoever comes after, it's like they have this shield up.
I agree with you 100%. I feel like, well, it depends on the next person and how, because things happen. Because one thing I can say, not even just for guys, just for everybody, the one thing people really kind of dislike about relationships the most is the getting to know somebody phase. Now, it's, you know what I'm saying, because people don't really like unfamiliar faces, because it shows how uncomfortable you can be. But I just feel like with guys, or for me especially, I feel like when meeting new people after a serious heartbreak, I try not to like show myself as much, because like, why do you like me? Because this just happened. What makes you any different? So and I feel like that's another thing for women too, but maybe it's just they get into stuff when they're actually ready. We just get into something just to say that we have somebody.
Yeah, like I totally feel it, and a lot of people do actually, because you had the opportunity to ask people around PGCC like their perspective on love. So how did that go?
Definitely I feel like there was progress, but there was again no progress. A lot of people in our generation, a lot of students here, I guess they haven't really got their real perception of love. They haven't had their real relationship yet. So I feel like most of their answers was based off of who they were talking to in their past, or just somebody they had a crush on that they considered a lover, but was never really love to begin with.
Do you have like any takeaways, like any specific pieces you want us to hear?
So this is from one of our newest members, Tariq, pretty funny guy to me. He shared his thoughts on love, I guess. It wasn't much I kind of took away from it, but I see where his head was going. So we'll play this real quick.
All right, let's take a look.
All right, so today I'm here with So Smooth, Trey, Tariq, Doria,
Ruth, Crystal Williams, Farida, Khadijah.
All right, so what would you say was your worst dating experience so far?
He cheated on me, and I was explaining how that hurt me. He said I didn't do nothing bad except for cheat.
This one shorty, right? When I found out she was a thought, bruh.
It's because my girls, some people was looking. I was like, it kind of felt awkward. You know what I mean, bro?
So look, we both went out to eat, right? We couldn't figure out what we wanted to eat. She wanted Indian food. Now, Indian food is known for like making people poop a lot, right? And I didn't know that. Yeah, we was in there, our stomachs was bubbling. It was insane.
He was on his way to pick me up for our date. The engine went out on his car. The engine went out completely, and I felt so sorry for him because he was driving a really nice car.
This guy asked for a discount.
Discount on what?
Went out to eat, and he saw the bill. He was like, "Is there a discount?"
In middle school, when I had this job, she was like the school treat. So yeah, that's
You cuffed it?
Yeah, I cuffed her.
We just stopped talking for a couple weeks. Kind of felt ghosted, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, I think we get the point.
Yeah, definitely a funny guy. Well, one thing I did take away from that was just the inexperience that he's had so far. Because there's a lot of disrespect with a lot of people. And a lot of people try to say, oh, it's just women who don't respect themselves with their body, but it's men too. People they go sleep with whoever they want, or they talk to whoever they want, disregarding other women's feelings. So I feel like it's just the inexperience that this generation has. So I feel like he'll get it someday.
Definitely. And like to top that off, I feel like there was a time when hot girl summer was like a big thing,
Oh
and it
my
was kind of like a
gosh.
sense of empowerment for a lot of people. And as somebody who participated in it at such a young age, I didn't realize like the sexualization, the over sexualization of young girls, like throughout social media, how that contributes to like how we view ourselves and our bodies. Because yeah, it might be fun like singing like city girls, like hot girl summer, all that, but it's like at the end of the day, why am I doing this, and in what way is this benefiting me? You know, so just something to think about.
So, question: do you feel like because of the how much sexuality is being portrayed with a lot of people, do you think that causes people's love language to drift towards physical touch?
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
And like I don't know how like R-rated we can go. I'm
keep
not
it
even gonna
clean.
say that. Yeah. But like yeah, definitely like just over sexualization, and that's completely a different story, but I think it's a big like yeah.
Actually, I did want to touch on that because I feel like a lot of people, it's the lack of getting to know somebody and like really know them. And that's why I guess for me, I would love to be friends with somebody first.
Yeah,
Really get to know them. Like we're
Yeah.
friends. At the end of the day, like beyond anything, I like being around you just because I like you. And I feel like not everybody, but with our generation, I do feel like some people may be missing that, and it's really about how people look and maybe how the way people dress, and it's more about the physical than the inner. And that's why a lot of
Yeah.
relationships could kind of fall apart after a point because they're no longer satisfied with how the person looks. They really never got to know that person.
Yeah. Well, so what has heartbreak taught you guys? Like outside, like not even just on some romantic type stuff, like how is heartbreak, like friendship wise, platonically, romantically, how has that shaped your view of like love in general? In like 2 words, and then elaborate if you want.
You're gonna come back to me on that. You said 2 words.
I know it's something to think about. It's tough.
Try again.
Try again. That's a good one.
I say try again because and it's not even just with breakup. A lot of things in your life is never going to go the way you plan it to. So but that doesn't mean just give up on it, you know, just continue trying at it. So if there's a relationship that you was in that just didn't work out the way you wanted it to, that doesn't mean just give up on love completely, because your person is still out there. That's just a lesson. Everything that you've been in that did not work out is just a lesson on what you want and what you don't want. So that's why I say just try again.
Definitely.
I guess this is technically 2 words. I'm gonna go with bittersweet. I know for me,
So cute.
as I've said, relationship wise, when it comes to like a romantic partner, really haven't dwelled into that. But I've definitely had a lot of friendships with people, and even recently, like leaving high school and going into college, where we're no longer friends. And that was a really hard thing for me to accept because we had so many good times together, and I really liked their presence. But when I took a step back, I realized that maybe we weren't the best people for one another, or some things simply just end, and sometimes you don't get closure, and you just have to learn to accept that. And it is a part of life, like at the end of the day. But there's also going to be people who stick by you and you're going to continue to grow with, and really value those people in your life.
Definitely.
Don't take people for granted.
I think my 2 words are gonna be like don't run. Mainly because a lot of us are very like surface level nowadays, and a lot of us kind of like there's like this thing where an ick, and then that's it. Like, you know, like the moment your ick is there,
I'm guilty
you
of that.
leave. So like I feel like we should like be more present and show up for people that we want to show up for, and like put yourself and like be vulnerable, right? Like put yourself out there so you can have the chance of a relationship instead of just running away when something goes wrong, because you're supposed to work through issues together if you want a relationship.
I think for me, and these words are kind of interchangeable, but I think patience and gratitude. Like when I entered into my relationship, I was so sure of myself that now, like that it's done, it's clipped, I'm like falling apart. And it's like, it shouldn't be this way. It shouldn't. And also, gonna add a second word, emotional maturity. That's what it taught me, because it's like, for real, look, and I'm guilty. I'm childish. I'm literally, I'm a monster when I'm mad. And I'm like, now it's easier for me to accept that. Like, even in terms of gratitude, giving myself grace, not blaming myself for stuff that I have no control over. Like, it's still a learning process. But, like, gratitude and patience, like you guys were saying, like, love is, like, gray. It's gray. It's literally gray. You have to know yourself, and you have to be willing to like compromise and like work through the growing pains. So something as well. And so as we start to wrap up, what have you guys learned from your past experiences? I think we kind of answered that. So do you have any advice for our fellow owls who are struggling?
Honestly,
Okay.
just go do it.
You definitely stole that from Nike Girl, but
Yeah.
go off. I would say don't rush it. A lot of experiences I know personally when I was younger. I'm still young, but when I was even younger, I wanted to experience something so badly just because other people were, or it was being portrayed online or in books I read or in the media I saw, and I just wanted that. I wanted to know what that felt like. But as I've grown, I've realized that I'm going to experience it when I do. I'm still young, and at the end of the day, I just need to not just focus on myself, but, focus on myself, grow as a person, and when that, whoever it is, comes along, hopefully I'll be ready, and I can fully accept that relationship when the time is right.
I'd say time. Just take time to get to know who you are and what you want. Be prepared to take the time to get to know who you're about to get into a relationship with. Make time, because nobody wants to be with somebody and they don't ever see them or hear from them. Definitely, if this is who you say you want, please make the time to
Show the
spend
effort.
time with that person.
Effort.
And then, that's pretty much about it. Oh, I did have one question though. How long would y'all say somebody should wait, but like to tell somebody that they like them, or how long do you think it takes for somebody to realize that they like somebody?
That's a good question. I don't know, because all the times that people told me they liked me, it was very, very fast. And it was unsolicited. Like, ain't nobody asked you to tell me that you like me. Like, why would you do that? So, honestly, it just, like, I guess you would just know. Like, not to sound cliche, but, like, when it feels right. Like, if you're bonding with somebody and it's all vibes, usually, like, in this day and age, you'll know when the feeling's mutual. So, you shouldn't have to question that. So, if you're sitting here questioning, like, oh, I like this person. Do they like me back? Just keep it to yourself. Like, honestly, just keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Also, I almost feel like it's case by case, to be honest, depending on the situation or the person. But definitely, if it comes too quickly, and you feel like they don't really know you, it doesn't feel real. Like, it feels disingenuous. You're like, okay, but you don't even know me, so how do you like me? That's why I feel like if you really do get to know person and you're like vibing and bonding, as Mattia was saying, like you feel that connection. Then if they're like, hey, I like you, you're like, oh my gosh, like
me too.
That's
it's
dope.
no question about
I'm
it.
into it.
Definitely felt that. And like, yeah, and also
Why are you blushing?
I'm sorry. I thought, do you like me like this? Like, no. I think for me, the biggest advice I could give you, Owls, is like really like make sure you're like you know yourself, or you know what you actually want when you're in a relationship. Don't settle. Like, it's so easy to be like, okay, this man can't give me this, it's okay, it's not, girl. And I have to keep telling myself that. And I want to share a quote that I actually heard, and it was like, I love you because you're a reflection of me. So when you go into a relationship, you need to make sure, like, literally you're going to this relationship because this person like is a part of you that you haven't discovered yet, or that you're trying to escape. You know,
I love that.
So honestly, just like make sure you're consistently like working on yourself in a relationship. Don't think, oh, this man likes me, this woman likes me, this person likes me, so now I have to just stop doing the work. Don't do that. Unacceptable. Unacceptable.
Truth.
No thoughts right now.
We will come back to that.
Wait,
So
I do want to say, I do feel like though, if you stop working on yourself within a relationship, once it's over, you've lost a part of yourself.
Oh, definitely.
And then you're like, whoa, who am I without you?
Yeah.
Don't get to that point. Like, whoever's in a relationship right now, as Mattia said, consistently stay working on yourself.
Heartbreak sucks,
So,
man.
I mean, God
It's so
forbid,
bad.
right? God forbid that relationship ends. You don't feel like you're just kind of floating.
Yeah, definitely find comfort in solitude as well, and stray away from social media. And as we're starting to wrap up, please remember that social media is not reality. Like, everything that you see is like properly selected for your approval. And so when you're single, whether because you want to be or you haven't found that person yet, just remember that it is okay. You're on your own timeline, and it's honestly no rush. Like, why are you rushing? And remember that despite your experiences or lack thereof, love is all around us. Whether we experience it from our friends, family, or even romantic relationships, our feelings are genuine and valid. So this wraps up our very first episode of PGCC Perspective. I'm so glad you guys took the chance to listen. Don't forget to follow us on social media, on Instagram at The Owl Newspaper, and special shout out to the Humanities Department. Yay!
Yes.
For letting us use our equipment. Shout out to Mr. Bobby
Thank
for
you,
being
Mr.
our
Bobby.
Yeah. Woo, woo, woo. Giving new friends. And any final thoughts, y'all?
Honestly, this is cliche, but love yourself.
Yeah, love yourself. Love yourself. Remember that.
All right, y'all. We'll catch y'all next Thursday.
Bye.
PG got the best information that you need is reported. Make sure y'all tune in for what's happening next. Let's go. Okay, that's me. We gon' talk about PG today. Let's go. Wake up early, the day going great. Let me see what they report today. We got Chris with the sports betters blowing up. But Tio gon' make sure we run it up. If hair's rude, it ain't no showing us. We the out, so believe that we going up.